This is Xander, and this is my weight loss journey part 3. Before I start, I want to mention that you may want to watch this video with caution because there's content in here that's not appropriate for your kids. Also, names will not, excuse me, that was an error, will not be mentioned in here because of the fact that I don't want to get sued. So on with the story. The year was 2002 of December, and I remember going to be with my stepmom and my adopted dad. Before going with them, I was, still in the same high school I was in part 2, and we went to my mom's old house and got some of my stuff. I thought I was going to stay there for the weekend because I wanted to come back. I wasn't ready to move, but unfortunately, my adopted dad had surprisingly other plans. I go with my adopted dad and stepmom to check out the place, and I ended up living in a trailer park, or was about to live in a trailer park. They were living in a trailer park, and they had premium TV, and it was pretty awesome. But what I was about to find out is that living with a military man wasn't all going to be fun and games. That everything I would learn from this man is everything I learned from my mother as well, of what she told me about him. So, on with the story. So, he wants me to go out and make some friends, and I do. I go out, make many different friends, and I meet some of the popular kids, but me being out of shape didn't quite tie in well. I meet my stepmom's family. It turns out I'm a step uncle at the time, adoptive uncle later. And I remember clear as day, one of my nieces, I didn't watch her, and I got into a little bit of trouble with the law from hanging out with the wrong crowd. My adopted dad wasn't technically mad at me for that, but he did get mad at me for leaving my niece behind at the trailer park clubhouse, which is a place for adolescents and kids to hang out. And he yelled at me and never let me hear the end of it. But I learned a few things. And learning those few things from that experience really opened my eyes. I need to be a better role model, or so I thought. And if you knew me back then, you would think I was a terrible role model to kids. I was terrible with kids, period. I basically ended up having to go out because, living with a military man, you have to exercise, you have to work out, you got to go do something. You can't be in the house all day, don't be a hermit. And there was things about me that I didn't do right, and he got on me about it. He got on to me about certain music I listened to. He got on to me about the way I am. He got on to me about certain things that he did not like. I mean, this man was very blunt, and I had to deal with it. I tried to please him, but there's no pleasing a military man. There's none whatsoever. So, with that said, I would go and hang out with my friends, and some of them I thought were my friends, and it ended up being that I got tricked on Christmas Eve into thinking X-Lax was chocolate. I had to hold in my bladder just to get out of the situation, but that was a big mistake. I ended up having to go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times that night. Kept it secret from my adopted dad. He never knew about it because I knew it would lead to drama. And what started out as a nice stay at the trailer park started to be a place of Dramaville. I dealt with someone who was a bully to me because I had to open my stupid mouth, and he got real angry, came up in my face, hired someone to hit me in the mouth. I didn't stick up for myself once again. Adoptive dad's on my case. I let someone spit on me. Adoptive dad's on my case. I don't do something about it. Adoptive dad's on my case because in his eyes, he had no time for wussies. And to him, he was so screwed up with society, I was a wussy to him. I had to deal with a girl who had a crush on me that I wasn't interested in. Gossip went around. People said, oh, she likes you. And I'm like thinking, okay, I'm not interested. It was a good thing she and I didn't date because, one, she was 2 years older than me. She was 18, I was 16. I was jailbait to her. And I knew my adopted dad wouldn't play around when it came to that. Two, her brother was overprotective. So I kept my distance because of that, to be noble. I had a stepmom too. And stepmom was pretty nice, but she had her downsides as well. So by 2003, I started losing massive amounts of weight. May I remind you, I ended up looking like I was sick by the time everything was all said and done. Adoptive dad's diet supposedly paid off, or so I thought. I got so skinny I looked like I was sick and you could see my rib cage. And it was very embarrassing. I couldn't go to the pool and take off my shirt without feeling insecure. I couldn't go anywhere taking off my shirt because I felt so insecure. At that time, I was hoping to get a girlfriend with someone cute because I was too shallow. And most of the girls I was interested in, they wanted nothing to do with me. I was an annoyance. And I got disrespected a lot, and it wasn't fun. But I can tell you, when I started doing that comedy, I started out by doing impressions. I was doing that in 2002 to 2003. And, it was fun. I got good attention, and I also ended up working on my rap skills. Unfortunately, I found myself back to the drawing board. But early 2003, something happened to me I'll never forget. My mother, being sick for a while, passed away from what she had. And I remember before she passed, I wrote a letter to her saying how sorry I was because my adoptive dad accused my brother and I of trying to kill our mother, which was a lie. And, I ended up having to deal with telling her I'm sorry. And I wrote that letter nice and long. I drew a card for her. And it was a very, very good feeling knowing I did that. But I remember the last time I saw her would be the final time. She was in a coma. I told her, how I felt. And it was hard for me being a 16-year-old boy, seeing my mother like that. And then a month later from seeing her, she passed on. It was a couple weeks later in my grieving process, I decided to write a song about her. Unfortunately, the song didn't come out right the first time around. And writing that song, all I could think about is how she and I bonded, the kind of person she was to me, and how much I was going to miss her. Even though I was a very disrespectful miscreant, if you will, to her, I just wanted to show my heart through that song. The song is called I'll Never Forget You, and the lyrics are on Facebook currently if you're interested. So, when I wrote that song, memories of my mom started to play, the good and the bad. And it helped me write it because I bonded with my mom through that song. And may I remind you, the bonding I had with her relates to that song. And with it said, Trailer Park Celebrity, another song I wrote, relates to this whole story, or should I say, the first half. second half also does as well, of the part 4, which will be the next part. So time progressed, and as 2003, came to its first half, I gotta say, I learned a lot so far on my first day. Made friends, lost friends, but I'll never ever will forget the first time living there. But I was in for even bigger surprises. Surprises that would shock people, and surprises that would open my eyes. And I'll never forget even the slightest surprise of having some crazy encounters that I can't quite mention, because not everyone believes in what I went through, but I went through some crazy encounters, and I learned some important lessons from that. So, with that said, y'all take care. God bless you. This has been part 3, and it has been an honor to tell you the first half of the story. The second half will have more detail. I apologize if there wasn't enough detail in here, but the second half of this story of the trailer park will have more detail. Thank you. God bless you. And I'll see you next time.